Buenos dias, clase. Hope you're having a good week. Hope you're all staying healthy. We're going to begin the third and final section of your entire packet. This is section 3, I guess part 2. So we've done Así se dice tres. You learned about some street food and some vocabulary around eating food in la calle. You watched a video about a taco stand in Mexico, and we've learned a little bit about ways to describe different foods. Now, so this observa section will teach us a little bit how to talk about different foods using the verb estar and using different adjectives from your vocab list, okay? So you're going to want to have this page of your paquetes. This would be page, let's see, page 8, I believe. Okay, so again, this is the part of the packet I sent you about 2 weeks ago. If you somehow don't have a copy, there is one available under topics on my MHS. So if you go to topics, sorry, it would help if I was logged in and I could show you. If for whatever reason you don't have a packet, weren't able to print it, although most of you were able to, it looks like. You can do it on a blank sheet of paper. It's just a little bit more writing. So you can go to either place. We've got chapter 4 notes here, okay, or we've got chapter 4 notes here. So hopefully you have it or have a blank sheet of paper, because you will be submitting it to me today as evidence, okay? So just a couple things we're going to fill in here about the verb estar. Okay, so this section, Observa tres, is called ¿Cómo está la comida? Okay, you guys already know what ¿Cómo estás means, right? How are you? And you answer with estoy bien, or just bien, right? And so here, we're asking ¿Cómo está? But about a different noun instead of a person. We're asking, what is the food like? ¿Cómo está la comida? Describe it, right? Last chapter you learned how to describe people using different adjectives, and you used a different verb. You used ser. Here you'd be using the verb estar. So here, remember, this is the verb estar that we're going to revisit here a little bit. Okay, so that's what this section has to deal with. All right, so the verb estar you guys are already familiar with. Okay, we've used it to describe two significant things. We describe locations of things, okay, so where something is located. When we learned, when we were talking about our houses, la casa, where rooms are located in relations to others, right? El dormitorio está detrás de la cocina, for example, está. And then the other significant way we use estar is to describe states of being, meaning how you're doing. Okay, so for example, if you look at the examples here, mi casa está en Pasadena. My house is in Pasadena. Okay, I think the other example on your packet has están. I forget what it was exactly, but where somebody's located in the house. All right, and then here we have, so that's an example of location where my house is located, and here we have a state of being. ¿Cómo estás? How are you? You would answer with estoy bien, gracias. Okay, so that's how we've used it already. Okay, so you guys should be very familiar with it. Another way we're going to use it is to describe how things taste. Okay, so how something tastes, our reactions to food, is how we use that as well. Okay, so let's make sure we remember what the present tense forms of estar are. Now, I know you've written these out before, you probably have them in another packet, but since we're using it again, I think it's important that we have the present tense forms, okay? So, here they are. Estoy, estás, está, estamos, and están. Okay, remember that's what's interesting about this verb. Estoy, it's irregular, first of all. Estoy, and then we have accents on these three forms, estás, está, and están. those accents are really important, and I'll tell you why in a second. And estamos does not have an accent, okay? So really make sure you have those accents correct, okay? So go ahead and fill in the pronouns, okay? So we've got yo estoy, tú estás, él, ella, or usted está. Okay, got nosotros estamos. And then we've got ellos, ellas, and ustedes están. Okay. Okay, so those are the present tense forms of estar. Okay. So, also, I know it helps a lot of you to put the English translations in parentheses here underneath, so I'm not going to have them on the screen, but if you want to go ahead and fill those in, okay, so yo estoy, we have I am, so you put I am in parentheses. You are in parentheses. He or she or it is. We are. And we've got they or you all are. Okay, so those are the translations of the verb estar. Okay, so on the next, oh, sorry, I forgot you have two more blanks. So when you're describing food specifically, okay, these are your last two blanks. I'm just going to circle them here. So when describing food specifically, you're only going to use two forms, está and están. Okay, so depending on the noun, the food you're describing, you're either going to use está if it's one food, están if it's more than one food. Okay. Otherwise, the other forms of estar only really describe people. Remember, third person singular, third person plural is what you use to describe non-people nouns, if that makes sense. Okay, so just like describing family members with ser, you use es or son. Okay, you wouldn't use soy or somos, for example. Okay, so at the bottom of your page there, you have some practice, some fill in the blanks. So in a minute, I'll have you pause the video and do the practice. Okay, so go ahead and pause the video. All right, if you want to get the most out of this activity. And then fill in the correct forms of estar. I realize you don't know exactly what all the nouns mean, but that's okay. You don't have to. You just have to pay attention to the quantities, right? Is it singular? Is it plural? That's all you really have to know. So go ahead and pause it and see if you can fill those in correctly, and we'll see how you do. Okay? All right, so let's see how we did. So you should have mi amiga y yo estamos muy bien hoy. My friend and I are well today. El sacapuntas está encima de la mesa. Pencil sharpener is on top of the table. Los pupitres están delante de la ventana. The desks are in front of the window. Tú estás al lado de la profesora. You are next to the professor. Okay? And then we've got Miguel está allí. Just saying Miguel is over there. And las profesoras están aquí. Professors are here. Okay, so hopefully you guys all got those correct. We will do some more practice today and tomorrow. Okay, so when you guys, in a minute, you're going to come up with some of your own examples, your own sentences using estar and adjectives. Okay, so here are a handful of the adjectives from your vocab list. You would use these to describe food. We've got delicious, tasty, spicy, sweet, and hot. Okay, there's more than this, obviously, but here's just some examples. Okay, so you would use the verb está or están. Okay, and then start with the noun you're describing. Okay, so far as structure goes, say the noun, correct form of the verb, and the correct adjective. Okay, now remember, make sure that your noun, adjective, and verb all match in gender and number. Okay, so los tacos están sabrosos, for example. Okay, so they have to match. Some of them don't change in gender. Remember the ones that end in E, like picante, dulce, inteligente, right? But they will change in quantity, so singular, plural. All right, so that will still apply. So if you look at my examples here, la sopa está rica. Okay, the soup is rich. All right, so I've got my singular, singular, singular. Okay, sorry, this little banner keeps popping up. I don't know how to make it go away. And then the last one here at the bottom, we've got los postres están dulces. Okay, plural, plural, plural. All right, so those are my examples. Your task in a moment after you finish this video is to go to my MHS, and there is an assignment where you're going to come up with 5 of your own sentences describing, okay, it says 3 different foods, it should say 5 different foods, sorry. 5 different foods, I'll correct that in the assignment itself. I want 3 of them to be singular nouns, 2 of them to be plural, okay? Type it into my MHS and submit it directly into my MHS. Okay, you don't need to use a Google Doc or anything, just type it straight in there. Remember the accents, okay? Make sure everything matches in quantity and gender, okay? So turn in 5 sentences describing 5 different foods using the model that I've shown you here, okay? You certainly, I encourage you to use nouns and adjectives that aren't on this list, but that are on your vocab. But you can use some of the ideas here. Okay, so tomorrow we'll have a live class Friday, and we'll practice this a little bit more together. Okay, let me know if you guys have any questions though. Oh, and one more thing. The page 8 that you've just filled out, filled in the blanks, all right? You're also taking a picture of that and submitting it to my MHS. Okay, so there will be an assignment posted for that as well. Gracias, adios.